Again, continuing. Just a physical reality has both wave and particle functions, so your senses are able to pick up both the wave and particle aspects of reality. You all know, for example, how to use your senses to tell what's cooking for dinner. You go into the kitchen, lift the lid of the pot, look in, take a deep breath, and let everyone know how good it smells. And you might, if the cook will allow, even snitch a quick taste. These are all examples of particle-focused or rational use of the senses. The information picked up is sent directly to the left brain. What then is the intuitive use of the senses, or ISP? ISP allows you to phase space into an entirely different dimension of reality, the wave dimension. ISP allows you to sense the whole picture, to directly access the thought forms and energy fields contained within any given circumstances, your own or anyone else's, and to directly intervene in their dynamics. With ISP, you can talk to the various shapes which are controlling the streams of thoughts and feelings deep within your mind, and directly relate to them through one or more of your senses. When we look at a Mandelbrot set, we can see that even in the simple mathematical formula, there are orders within orders within orders. We learn from computer reactions of these orders how beautiful they can be, and also how the shapes, the turtles, interwoven deep within the streams, can determine the flow of the whole stream. When we change these shapes, we change the whole flow of the stream. So the shapes control the flow of the stream. Such is the case with many of nature's streams. The rocks within the mountain streams affect the flow of the water and determine its path. The shape of the mountain range affects the flow of air currents, the air streams, and determines the path of an oncoming summer storm. And so it is within the human mind. For the streams of thought which govern our behavior and which dictate to us the way we perceive things, and all influence and control by shapes within the orders of the mind. These shapes I call holodynes. Holodynes are thought forms. I call them beliefs, your belief system that have a form, which have the power to cause things to happen. Your beliefs cause everything to happen. Change your beliefs, you change what will happen. Holodynes are single, self-sufficient units of the quantum force, fundamental units of the one dynamic whole, the holodynamic universe. Holodynes respond to all dimensions of the mind model. They have both the particle and the wave functions, with direct access to both physical and quantum dimensions. They align themselves within the 6 stages of the development of your mind, and they control the interest wave, and thus your thoughts and feelings. If you would like to experience the holodyne, just think of your grandma. What color of hair does Grandma have? Can you see Grandma in your mind's eye? The reason you can imagine Grandma or Mom or Dad is that the memory is stored as a holodyne. Your memory of Grandma is a living, powerful influence in your life. Often unbeknown to you, you will love the way Grandma loved, think the way she thought, and sometimes make decisions intuitively the way she would. She may not be the only holodyne involved in these activities, but there is no denying the impact Grandma or Mom and Dad has had on your life. This is one way holodynes program your life. From a particle perspective, holodynes are specific thought forms that make up our memory banks, the computer programs for our behavior, and the power packs behind our feelings. According to Carl Primbram, the way we perceive messages from our senses, send these through our central nervous system, and then store them in our brain, works a lot like hologram. Holograms can tell us much about how we perceive, think, and remember, and how holodynes, which resemble them. Holograms, which are in a hologram, which you are a hologram within this holographic universe. Holograms are formed by splitting a laser beam so that part of it bounces off the object you want to photograph and part of it bounces off a photographic plate. When you shear a laser through the plate, the holographic image or hologram appears in 3 dimensions. The amazing thing about hologram is that if you break it into pieces and shine the laser beam through any one piece, the whole image appears. From such experiments comes what is called the holographic principle. What is known to be part is known to the whole, and that is known to the whole is known to the part. That's why you have the answers to everything, because it's stored inside you, the hologram. But you are made to think that with your ego that you're separate and know nothing. But you actually can tap into the answers of every friggin' everything, because you are the hologram of the holographic game we're playing. Memory storage. Memory storage works as a similar principle. Within the neurons of the brain, there are no holographic plates, but there are protein strings, and memory is formed and stored within these strings in much the same way as holograms are stored on holographic plates. I call these holographic memory storage units holodynes. The holodynes behave like living holograms, which I call your DNA. I wish this guy would use the words of what it is, but that's what these protein strings. Every time you have a thought, you don't think in words, you think in chemical experiences, which are proteins and peptides that attach itself to your DNA. So every time you have a thought, you're changing your DNA. That's why twins have the same DNA, but after they live 50 years and get their DNA tested, they ain't the same anymore, because your life experiences and all of your thoughts change your freaking DNA. So when we want to say we want to activate our DNA, activate, the whole oneness, the whole holographic game that's being played, know what you're thinking about. Know the memory, know your DNA. Your DNA typically, because they're all behavior patterns, because they're holograms, because they're rules, you will live your life exactly like your parents did. You have the potential to do exactly the same thing, and that's why you get the same diseases. You will more than likely die of the same friggin' illness that your genetics died. I mean, take a look at why everybody's dying in your family. For me, every single one of them are dying of heart problems. Lack of love. There's a lot of abuse going on. If they stopped all those friggin' abuse patterns, they'll get the love that they actually want, because they're all striving for love and peace, but they're all got control issues, or they all want to be controlled, not be in your full potential, or, the controlling. I will be my full potential if I control you. So this has been my experience. It's really wild. Holodynes have power. They can cause things to happen. Roger Sperry won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1978 in part of the identifying how thought forms within the mind develop causal potency, the power to cause things to happen. According to Sperry, causal potency is created in the mind as a bioelectrical buildup, like a charge in a battery. The more you charge the battery, the more power it develops. This is one rational way to explain how holodynes can develop power. Now, before I go on, yes, this guy, doesn't believe his own shit because he doesn't know his own unknown problem. He's still believing the universal is the cause of everything, and he doesn't see that he's the one that's creating all of the shit that he's experiencing. This guy created systems that can transform all toxic waste into pure, clean energy. He developed that how? By being poisoned with high-grade uranium. He developed a heart problem to the point where he had to get a heart pacer to control his heart, because his heart was a little broken when somebody tried to kill him. And even though he understands that, hey, he's got to make peace with his enemy, kind of understand the causal effect to everything, and love his enemy, because he was born, his mission was to clean the biosphere. And in order for him to clean the biosphere, he kind of had to be poisoned first, so he can have that potential that drove him in that stream that created the technology that he wanted to create. Now, while he's not believing his own issues, while he's not transforming his own holodynes and thinking everything is caused by the world outside, and not by his internal world, this guy has actually gone to the United Nations. He really, really, really wants the United Nations to know this stuff. And the United Nations are turning him down. And he's been sending them business plans and proposals and cannot get the United Nations to even look at this stuff, because the United Nations are designed specifically for you to be trapped in hell and not get out. It's sort of like the negative energy, evil forces that are influencing everybody right now. This is hell on earth, and we've got the mindset of hell, of Satan, of evil. Most of it is coming from your Bible. Get rid of your Bible, because they're brainwashing you into a really, really bad reality. Ultimately, when you take responsibility and follow your life purpose, and know that everything is a process, and know that it starts from you, you are the world peace. So that's like, I made a tape the other day that I'm not going to be judging anymore. All of the changes within the world have to start with me first. I have to be the one that takes responsibility for the whole friggin' planet being destroyed. Not the New World Order. Me directly. And I'm not the one that's got to change the world. I'm the one that has to change myself, which is why I've started this channel more of a diary. You think I'm reading this book more for you? I'm reading this book because I need to hear it again. And that's the perspective that I'm looking at. And I'm just trusting in the universe that all I have to do is work on myself, and the universe will unfold perfectly. And my only advice is, if you do the same, you'll create global change just by you changing yourself. Don't bother focusing on changing anybody else. Just be the example you want everybody else to be, and they will follow. Do you want to be talking about bullshit, negative shit all the time? People will be talking about bullshit, negative things all the time. If you want to talk about potential, then eventually you will attract other people that want to attract change, which is just what I'm doing. I'm following my inner voice. My inner voice says, work on your communication skills, and in more ways than one. And I'm really great at public speaking. I'm really great at a lot of things. But communicating within this dimension is a challenge for me. It's a challenge for me to keep my emotional state. It's, I still have a lot of challenging things that I'm working in process, which is why I need to read this book again, and probably again and again and again, and take full responsibility for the issues that I see going on in my world, because I am the creator of this. Just got to see how. I am also the solution of this. Anyway, another way to explain how holodynes develop power is to look at how your conscious focus affects someone's behavior. If you choose to focus on a negative aspect of a person's behavior, you actually create more power of the holodynes, which are causing the negative behavior. The person behaves more negatively, not less. Your being negative about someone else's negative behavior simply multiplies the power that the negative holodynes have. It sets up a negative field. It gives off negative vibes. Now, that's one thing that I knew all my life. It's like if you tell somebody they're stupid long enough, they'll turn into stupid. When I had my kids, I kept telling them they're geniuses, they're geniuses, they're geniuses, and they turned out to be friggin' smart. And for me, it's like, oh, that's not exactly the best way of doing things, because they also had another influence of somebody else, my ex-husband, that constantly pointed out their negatives all the time. And so they've had this dual influence of, they know what's right, they've had somebody in their lives constantly focusing on everything that's good about them, but they've also had more influences from their father and the whole society. School told them they weren't smart. Well, I kept telling them they're geniuses. So they've had more influence by society than they did over me. But they do know they have a full potential. They do know what is good about them because they've had a life experience of me telling them that. But the universe has told them, don't listen to your mother. She's on a welfare system. I'm in a welfare system because I don't fit in with the world anymore because they don't believe me when I say that's kind of wrong. And basically it's because how I communicate what's wrong. I need to change myself.